Apple and McDonald's, once untouchable symbols of American business success, are quietly losing ground in one of the most important markets on Earth, China. The shift isn't isolated or temporary. It's deep, widespread, and accelerating. What was once a land of limitless opportunity for Western brands is quickly becoming a proving ground for their survival. The balance of global economic power is tilting, and China is reshaping the rules. This is no longer just a competitive threat, it's a global realignment. The effects will ripple through industries worldwide, from technology and finance to trade and culture. China has transformed. Once known primarily as the world's factory, it's now a center of innovation, ambition, and rising influence. Chinese companies that were once dismissed as imitators are now redefining the game, setting trends, influencing global consumer behavior, and overtaking the giants that used to dominate. Brands like Huawei, Xiaomi, and Luckin Coffee aren't just rising stars, they're leaders. And their rapid ascent is coming at the expense of Western icons. Take Huawei. Previously overshadowed by American tech companies, it now leads the charge in fields like 5G and artificial intelligence. When the US imposed sanctions, it didn't just weather the storm, it became a national symbol. Chinese consumers didn't back away, they leaned in. Buying Huawei became more than a transaction, it became an act of pride. In the wake of sanctions, its domestic market share jumped by 30%, fueled by a wave of patriotic support. That wasn't just loyalty to a brand, it was loyalty to a national cause. This isn't an isolated case. Oppo, Xiaomi, and Luckin Coffee are rising rapidly in sectors long dominated by Apple, Starbucks, and McDonald's. These local brands aren't just offering cheaper products, they're offering smarter, faster, and more relevant alternatives. They understand the market, speak to local values, and deliver real value. What's driving this shift? A powerful mix of affordability, quality, and nationalism. Apple, once seen as the pinnacle of innovation and luxury, is increasingly out of reach for everyday Chinese consumers. While it continues to charge premium prices, competitors like Vivo, Oppo, and Xiaomi offer similar tech for a fraction of the cost. And they're not cutting corners. These devices are stylish, capable, and widely trusted. In fact, a McKinsey study shows that 62% of Chinese consumers now prioritize value over brand prestige. Why pay more for a foreign name when local alternatives are just as good, if not better? Perceptions of quality have shifted dramatically. Younger Chinese consumers, especially those under 35, now see local brands as equals, or even superiors to Western ones. According to Statista, 55% of surveyed consumers say they trust domestic brands as much as or more than foreign ones. That shift in mindset is a seismic change for companies like Apple, which once dominated China's premium market with ease. Now it faces rivals who know the local landscape better and are more agile in meeting its demands. But price and quality aren't the whole story. There's a deeper force at play: identity. Nationalism has become a powerful driver of consumer behavior. Amid rising tensions between China and the West, especially the US, many young consumers are using their wallets to express their values. Around 80% of them say they prefer to buy from Chinese brands as a way to support the national economy and reduce reliance on the West. This isn't just about shopping. It's about sovereignty, pride, and taking ownership of the country's future. To many, choosing a product from Huawei, Xiaomi, or Luckin Coffee is about more than features and prices. It's a statement, a rejection of foreign influence, a declaration that Chinese innovation doesn't need to borrow from the West anymore. It stands on its own. And beneath all of this is the pressure of everyday economics. The cost of living in major cities like Beijing and Shanghai has climbed significantly. Since 2022, the average cost of goods and housing has risen by about 15%, squeezing consumers and shifting buying priorities. In this environment, people are far more cautious with their spending. They want quality, but they also need affordability. That's where local brands are winning decisively. McDonald's and Starbucks, once viewed as sleek, aspirational markers of Western cool, are now being outmaneuvered by domestic players who offer better value without compromising experience. Luckin Coffee, for example, has undercut Starbucks pricing aggressively while expanding rapidly. As a result, it captured 30% more market share in just 1 year. It's no longer a battle of prestige, it's a battle of value and relevance. This is the reality foreign brands now face in China. Their legacy status is no longer enough. Their price tags are no longer justified. Their cultural cachet is fading. And if they don't evolve quickly, they'll continue to lose ground to domestic rivals who are faster, sharper, and far more in tune with the Chinese consumer. The landscape has changed. The rules have changed. And the new leaders aren't looking west, they're looking forward. In a world where economies are evolving at lightning speed, American brands hoping to thrive in China are discovering that competing on price and quality is just the beginning. Even if they manage to win on those fronts, they're still up against something far more complex: China's tightening regulatory grip. Over the past few years, Beijing has introduced a host of new policies that make operating as a foreign company increasingly difficult. Take Apple and Tesla, for example. They're now required to store user data within Chinese borders. This seemingly simple mandate has ballooned into a logistical and financial nightmare, forcing companies like Apple to completely overhaul their data infrastructure just to stay compliant. The price tag? Millions of dollars. And it's not just about money. These new rules bring serious cybersecurity and ethical concerns, all while local Chinese companies, unburdened by the same constraints, gain a significant home field advantage. This regulatory pressure creates a stark choice: comply at great cost or exit the market entirely. For some Western brands, the sheer weight of compliance has begun to outweigh the potential rewards. But the challenges don't stop there. American companies must also grapple with a cultural shift that's redefining consumer expectations, especially around sustainability. In China today, sustainability isn't just a buzzword. It's a deeply held value, particularly among younger consumers under 30, who are reshaping the market with their preferences. According to a Greenpeace China study, nearly 3/4 of young Chinese consumers actively seek out brands that demonstrate real environmental responsibility. If a brand isn't seen as part of the solution, it risks being written off as part of the problem. Some companies are taking notice. Nike, for instance, launched its Move to Zero initiative in China, focusing on reducing waste and embracing sustainable materials. That move has resonated strongly with environmentally conscious young shoppers, who expect the brands they support to take real action, not just make promises. But again, even that's not enough. Because in China, consumers want more than sustainable products or compliant data practices. They want connection. This is where many American brands stumble. Success in China requires more than simply entering the market with a translated product. It demands emotional relevance. It means building a relationship that goes deeper than transactions, one rooted in cultural awareness and authentic storytelling. Apple has shown how powerful this approach can be, especially with its Chinese New Year campaigns. Through emotionally resonant short films and thoughtful visuals, Apple isn't just selling phones. It's tapping into shared experiences, family values, and cultural pride. McDonald's too has embraced this strategy, reworking its menu to reflect regional tastes and rolling out tech-savvy innovations like AI-powered kiosks and facial recognition payments, showing an understanding of local habits and expectations. Yet the complexity of the Chinese market doesn't end with national trends. It's a vast, regionally diverse country, and what delights customers in Shanghai might fall flat in Chengdu. Brands that ignore these differences do so at their own risk. Coca-Cola, for example, has successfully localized its offerings, launching Sichuan-flavored cola tailored to regional preferences. But this isn't just about product innovation. It's about cultural sensitivity. Missteps in this arena can quickly turn into PR disasters. Just ask Dolce & Gabbana, who faced massive backlash after an offensive ad campaign that missed the cultural mark entirely. On the flip side, Coca-Cola's thoughtful engagement with Chinese New Year traditions has paid off, leading to a 20% boost in brand loyalty over just 3 years. All of this points to a simple truth. The competition in China is no longer just about market share. It's about identity, relevance, and trust. For American giants like Apple, McDonald's, and others, the pressure to evolve has never been greater. They're not just navigating economic trends or regulatory frameworks. They're operating within a living, breathing cultural landscape that demands constant adaptation. To succeed, they'll need to be more agile, more insightful, and far more in tune with what Chinese consumers really care about. This isn't just a business challenge, it's a test of global adaptability. Will these Western brands learn fast enough to keep pace, or will they be overtaken by homegrown competitors who understand the terrain intuitively? The outcome won't just shape the future of these companies, it could redefine the global balance of brand power for decades to come. One thing's for sure, the race is on and the clock is ticking.